All right.
And you just tell me when you want to go on to the next slide.
Okay.
All right, we're ready to go.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Maria Boggs, and I'm on the Finance and Applications team at the South Carolina Department of Education. And today I'm going to talk with you about the Title V program. Okay. Please make sure that your phones and computers are turned off and you're muted. The purpose of the Title V grant is to provide some funds for those school districts that are small and thus often lack personnel and resources. And they also often lack money from competitive grants, and formula grants are often too small to really be helpful to meet their intended purposes. So the purpose of this grant is to provide some additional funds to supplement those grants. This grant is non-competitive and eligibility is determined by statute. The USIC, the feds give the state agencies the money, and the state agencies make the subgrants to the local education agencies that meet the applicable requirements. And everybody that is eligible gets an award. All right, so how do you know if you're eligible? Well, a local education agency is eligible if the total number of students in their average daily attendance at all the schools served by the LEA is fewer than 600, or if each county in which a school served by the local education agency is located has a total population density of fewer than 10 persons per square mile, and all of the schools served by the local education agency are designated with a locale code of 32, 33, 41, 42, or 43. I'm not sure how those codes are determined. They are given to us by the feds. The third criteria for eligibility could be if 20% or more of the children ages 5 through 17 years served by the local education agency are from families with incomes below the poverty line. And again, all the schools are served by the same locale codes. A needs assessment does have to be conducted for this grant. The assessment should include a variety of stakeholders, to include teachers, administrators, community members, parents, and even students. The assessment summary narrative, what you give us from your needs assessment, should include a discussion of the data that indicated the need. The online application should be based on the needs assessment findings and the amount of money that has been awarded. Guidance from both the United States Department of Education and the SDE should be followed when developing this plan. Supplement, not supplant. The traditional method is in effect in this grant. Title V funds may be used only to supplement educational program activities provided with state and local funds and may not replace those funds. If state or local funds would pay for that activity in the absence of Title V funds, then that activity is not allowable under this grant. All right, so what is allowable under this grant? It's a very flexible grant. It is designed to supplement the other grants that federal grants that we have available to us. So anything that is allowable under Title I, Title II, Title III, Part A of Title IV, or under parent involvement activities would be an allowable activity for this grant. Some examples of Title V activities based upon Title I allowability would be activities that support teacher incentives, professional development, substitute teachers to be used during times when teachers need to engage in professional development away from the classroom, to purchase technology, and to support instruction. Examples of Title V activities that can be used based on Title II would be activities that support instructional staff, salaries, stipends, fringe benefits, contracted services, supplies, travel, and again, PD. And these are just some examples. These are just examples. This is not the sum and total. Example of Title V based upon Title III allowability would be upgrading program objectives and effective instructional strategies, improving instruction for EL learners, and supporting immigrant students. Title V allowability also allows Title V to have activities which support well-rounded education, safe and healthy students, and effective use of technology. So records retention. All records, financial and otherwise, must be kept for 5 years after the expiration of the grant. If you have a litigation, a claim, a negotiation, or other action involving the records, then you must hold those records, you must retain those records until resolution of the issue, even if it is beyond the 5-year period. All right, so when are amendments made? An amendment can be made during any of these occasions. As you know, sometimes after we send out initial allocations, then we may get something from the feds that says, well, we got to increase the money a little bit, or we got to decrease the money a little bit. So if you already have had initial approval for your plan and the allocation changes, then you will need to do an amendment to reflect that. You also can do an amendment anytime there is a change of an activity, an addition of an activity, or a deletion of an activity. And anytime there is a change in function object code, that also should be reflected in the amendment. All right, so when you're doing an amendment, the district goes in and updates the online application in GEMS. The SCDE reviews the amendment, either sends it back for some adjustments or approves it. Once the amendment is approved, then the district completes the amendment in GAPS. The SCDE approves the amendment in GAPS then. If you complete GAPS before your amendment is approved, then if there is something that has to be changed and GAPS doesn't match, then you've got 2 changes that have to be made, because we'll send it back because it doesn't match. So try not to do complete GAPS until you've got a complete approval on your amendment. And the amendment should be approved before the activity takes place. If you start to spend money that you haven't been awarded yet, you may or may not have to eat that activity. If you feel like it's something you're sure will be approved, then that's up to you. But just know that if it is not approved yet, you may not be able to get the funds. And the last day to submit an amendment is approximately June 5th. All right, so drawdown of funds. Districts should encumber and draw down funds in a timely manner. Should do it at least quarterly, can do it monthly, and all expenditures through June 30th, 2022 must be submitted to the SCDE by August 15th of 2022. A final expenditure report for funds spent by September 2022 is due to the SCDE no later than November 15th, 2022. Okay, yeah, keep clicking. All right, so transferability of funds. This is one of the nice things about this grant, is that any of these funds could be transferred into other ESSA programs if you want to. Not only are activities that are allowed in these other titled programs, allowed in Title V. You can also just transfer the funds into those other programs to be used in whatever manner you see fit. You do have to make sure that you realize that if you transfer your money in Title V money into Title IV, that money becomes subject to the rules and regulations of Title IV. If Title IV has a limitation of 15% on technology, then that new money will also be subject to that 15% limitation. LEAs must also consider how it's going to impact Title I required set-asides and equitable services. If you do plan on transferring funds, you need to notify the program managers before you submit the application and budget. All right, the Consolidated Oversight and Monitoring Team visits LEAs to review the criteria included in the monitoring protocol. LEAs are monitored both upon risk and during the monitoring cycle. And really, districts could be subject to a monitoring visit anytime, although it's not usually conducted unless there is some reason or issue or concern to do so. All right, so on-site monitoring helpful hints, that should say Title V. You should document your Title V meetings, your agenda, your sign-in sheet, your minutes, and also the notes that you take during the meeting. Make sure that changes are for approved activities in the GEMS plan. Here is our contact information of the program managers and the team leader as well. If you have further questions, feel free to contact us.
So if you guys have any questions regarding Title V, you can drop them in the chat right now.
Okay, well, I'm assuming you don't have any questions at this moment. When you begin working on your Title V plans, if you have questions or on the amendments, please feel free to contact us. We're happy to assist you as quickly and efficiently as we can.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Maria.
Yeah, thank you all for your participation. I hope you have a great afternoon.